number one, most importantly, is the starting seed amount. And the starting seed amount is something that we designed to trick the contract into thinking it had starting liquidity. And this starting liquidity determines the price impact of the truffle token as new capital comes in. And the higher we set this starting seed value, the less price impact there will be on the truffle token as new capital comes in. Now, when we did V1, we used the same starting seed amount as Drip Garden. And that worked very well with Drip Garden, but our community is so much bigger. Plus, as a lot of you know, someone decided that they wanted to try to bot our contract. And what this did was, with the smaller seed amount, it caused major price impact. And then everybody who got in after them drove the price up even higher. And what this means is that even if you were 2 or 3 minutes late, you bought the token at thousands of X higher than you otherwise would have if we had a higher seed amount. And this isn't just for people that were a few minutes late. This comes for even the third person who bought into the contract. And then the further on we went, the more this built up, right? The more the price of truffles became more and more inflated, because even small deposits created a relatively large price impact. And it got to a point where the people were getting very, very little value, right? So there were two major reasons for the migration. One was so we can have a better pricing model for the piggy bank, where there isn't insane price impact from deposits coming in. Two, so we can remove that botter and distribute his capital to the rest of the investors, because this is something that we made very well known for all my projects. We have anti-bot protocols, and if you try to get around our anti-bot protocols by linking 100 wallets together, or doing just under what our max deposit is, or anything like that, automated selling bots, these kinds of things, that we will blacklist you. So with V2, we didn't even have to blacklist anybody, but we just came up with a fair, non-arbitrary way to credit people in V2, which took the botter out, just due to the simple fact that what we credited you in V2 was the amount of LP you deposited minus the amount of LP you withdrew. And due to the security protocols we had on V1, no one was able to drain the contract. But this is because of the max payout. This is because the 3%, max daily ROI cap. And this is due to, the pause mechanic, which, if anything unexpected happened, would pause the PIGGY token before anybody was able to dump it on the market. So our security protocols worked, and due to the way that we, determined crediting in V2, this botter was not credited, which means that all of the piglets that he would have been getting is now distributed evenly to the rest of the investors. And when you look at the amount that he was credited, it was a huge amount, something like 40-something% of all the piglets. So that alone greatly increases the amount of value that everybody in the system gets when that value is distributed. Now, on top of this, the higher seed amount, which we used a seed amount that was 5,000 times higher than the V1 model. And what that means is, when someone buys truffle, the truffle price moves, a fraction of 1%. Even if they do a very, very, very large buy, it will just move a fraction of a percent. And what this does is it ensures that it doesn't matter when you buy. What matters is your actions in the system. How often you're compounding relative to how often you're withdrawing. If you're referring people into the system, how long you time lock for. These are what have the most impact on what you're able to yield from the system. Not whether you bought 3 minutes in or 5 minutes in, right? And this is important. Now, of course, there is a pricing functionality on the truffle token. So people who get in earlier are getting a slightly better truffle price. But when I say slightly, I mean slightly, meaning that the 30 or let me think, maybe it's like I would have to look at exactly what the value is, but it's something like $15 million. So the $15 million worth of buy price impact that came in under the new pricing model only moved the price something like 7x. So that goes to show that no matter when you got in, right, even if you do a $1 million deposit, it's only going to move the price, a few percentages, right? No 1,000x, 100x price movement. And this ensures that there is a benefit to getting in early because you will get a slightly better price. But the main benefit to getting in early is you're able to be compounding and earning yield and compound interest in the system from a earlier starting date than others. And when you have a system with compound interest, it's very powerful to be early. So this is the main benefit, not that you will get an unfair price if you don't get in early, right? Because that's not supposed to be the functionality of the system. And because we increased the seed value, which determines the price impact, by 5,000x, it made it so people who get in later were not diluted, even when the people that we credited. And because of this, they got so much more value. And this is why people got 200x, 300x more value in V2. It's because that value came from the bottom and the first couple people that got in on V1 that moved the price way more than they should have. So we also increased the total truffle supply by 10,000x, and this also increased the amount of piglets that people get, but it increased it. It scaled. It affects everybody equally, right? And the reason why we did this is to ensure that it's always affordable to buy a whole piglet, but also we added in another mechanic that allows you to buy a fraction of a piglet, even if the contract balance was to do 1,000,000x, and it came to a point where you needed to spend $100,000 to buy a full piglet. In that case, it's still functional because you can buy a fraction of a piglet now. And the reason why it's so important to be able to buy a fraction of a piglet is because, yeah, sure, you may be able to buy a full piglet, but is the yield you're earning on that principal enough to buy a full piglet? Meaning the 3% you're earning a day, is that enough to buy a whole piglet? And it needs to be in order to get credit for compounding and earning bonuses. So this is one of the reasons why we increased the total truffle supply, but also, more importantly, we added the ability to buy fractional piglets, which allows everybody to collect and claim their bonus. So tonight at 7, I'm going to be going over, the migration data more in detail with Brendan from Drip Guide. He made very, very detailed drip tutorials, and he's a member of the DAO. So we did all of these testings to make sure the migration data was correct. We've been doing this with the DAO members for the past 5 days or so. So essentially, we did many different launches, right? We did our deploying many times over the past 4 or 5 days, and then had people look at what they were credited, do all the math to ensure it was correct. And then, at one point we wanted to make a small UI change, so we made a UI change, did the full redeployment again, make sure everybody was correct, and, could utilize the UI and the change we made. So we've done this launch and this crediting maybe a dozen times over the past 5 days. So we know it's correct. We know everybody got way more value. And Brendan, over the past few days, has really, gone over the analytics of the migration. And that's going to be interesting and I think very bullish to go over tonight. So at 7, we're going to do that. We're going to, at 7 p.m., so that's in 2 hours. So we'll do it here and streaming on his channel. But I think he did. So, I typically tell people don't leak info from the DAO because a lot of the times we're testing stuff and we're testing it for a reason, right? And we're not talking about it publicly for a reason. We're talking it in the DAO because we know that's, a group of people that are heavily invested in us. They believe in what we're doing. And if we need a wider base for testing, if we need a couple hundred people to test with, but we don't want to, make everything fully public because we're still in testing, we like to utilize the DAO. And because of this, he's had a lot of this data for days now and has really gone into the details of it. So that's going to be interesting. So we're going to do that. Now, another thing that I want to address, which I posted in the Animal Farm chat, is that Stonecutter, one of our admins, asked me to address this because he got it a few times. Now, in the Animal Farm contracts, right, the Master Chef contract specifically, I should say, there's the Dogs Master Chef contract, which pays out dogs for non-native token, and there's the Pigs Master Chef contracts, which pays out pigs. The Dogs Master Chef contracts, you can only stake non-native assets. The Pigs Master Chef contracts, you stake dogs, dog BUSD, dog BNB, and drip BUSD to earn pigs. So that's how that works. Now, the way that Master Chef contracts work are, it takes the amount of blocks that have passed from the time you did your stake to the time you withdraw or compound, and it uses this to determine what your payout is. Now, we told everybody that we are not minting dog or pigs while everything was paused. Of course, this isn't the case. Now, people are still earning yield on it because of the capital rehypothecation, and they're earning yield in the back end in the form of cake, which is then being restaked in PancakeSwap's cake pool. And when we go live tomorrow, the cake that was generated from this will be swapped for BUSD and injected into the pig pen. And this is where the value for people that have kept their collateral on the Animal Farm contracts will be realized. That yield will be realized in the pig pen in the form of BUSD injection. And this is how it's always been intended, right? Either we utilize it for buybacks or pig pen injections. And through the first couple months that we were live, we realized that there's way more of a positive impact on the tokens and on the community when we do the pig pen injections, because then we're not just putting that BUSD directly into the pig token where one or two whales can pump and dump it and remove it real quick. Instead, we're putting it into the pig pen contract where the stakers and investors and the people that are in it for the long term get access to the BUSD, and it's paid out to them over time. So this is way more bullish, gives way more incentive to buy and stake and lock up the PIG token. Plus, it gives the BUSD that's generated in yield to the people that deserve it, the people that are in for the long term, not a whale that wants to get in and try to like front run the buyback and get in and out real quick. So this is where this yield is going, into the pig pen, and this is what we'll always use this yield on moving forward. Now, due to the way that mastership contracts work, where it determines the amount of assets that it's going to mint to pay out as dividends based on the amount of blocks that have passed. This means that if we kept the same mastership contracts, then if we go live, we just open and people draw, yes, it be as if it was minting dog and pigs this whole time. This is the whole reason why we're doing a full migration. Because dogs and pigs, so, as I've said from the start, are not being credited while it's been paused. And the reason for this is obvious. If we were just to have dogs and pigs minted the whole time when the alarm's paused, we would unpause it, and there would be a billion pigs all of a sudden in circulation. That doesn't make sense, and it doesn't anyone, right? So when we do the migration for the mastership contracts, the animal farm contracts, which will be started next week, those who have pigs available to claim in the V2 mastership contract before we paused, you will be credited in the new mastership contract with those pigs. The same as if you had them in the pig pen, you're credited into the pig pen, and now you have the option to also send BUSD in and credit them to the piggy bank. Or if you were in the piggy bank, you got credited in the piggy bank. If your pigs were in your wallet, you get credited to your wallet. They were airdropped to you. And if you had LPs in your wallet, we will be airdropping the LP tokens to you when we add that liquidity before we go live. Now, the pig tokens that were in people's wallets before we paused, or at the moment we paused, less than 3% of the total supply. The amount of pigs that were in the mastership contract available to claim, less than 1% of the total supply. The reason for this is because if you had pigs, all the incentive was to put them in the pig pen to start earning yield. And because of this, everybody was taking their available pigs, whether it was available to claim in the mastership contract or in their wallet, and putting it into the pig pen. They weren't just keeping it in the mastership contract or keeping it in their wallet. So when we go live, there'll be less than 3% of tokens in people's wallets that were airdropped to them. And when the mastership contract goes live, there will be pigs credited in people's stakes, but it's less than 1% of the total supply, right? So this is the way this works. Now, of course, you always have people who think they know what they're talking about and want to go around and fight and all this stuff. And when I'm saying this, I'm referring to people were going around, weeks ago saying that dog and pigs are going to be are being minted in animal farm contracts and blah blah blah. This is because they didn't have all the information. They didn't know that we were doing a migration of the mastership contracts to V2 as well. So with that information, then of course none of the dog or pigs that have been generated, well, they haven't even been generated. So the mastership contract does not mint dog or pigs until someone actually goes to withdraw it or compound it. So they were never minted, and they never will be minted because we're launching the new mastership contracts. And all that will be credited on the new mastership contracts are what was available to claim when we paused, right? Which is less than 1% of the supply. So I just want to, make that clear, because people, when we unpaused everything to allow people to send in the pigs and pig LPs, they withdrew. Of course, they withdrew from the MasterChef contract and deposited. And I haven't actually seen it, but one of my admins said he got a few questions of people, thinking that they would get credited for pigs, as if pigs were minting for the months when the farm was paused. And we made it very clear the whole time that no dogs or pigs will have been minted while it was paused, and all that will be credited in the Dog and Pigs MasterChef contract is what was available to claim when we paused, right? So that's important. That's important to know, because first of all, so you can accurately, so you can get an accurate prediction of what you will be credited, and also so people know that there isn't, we're not going to go live and there'll be dogs and pigs, a billion dogs and pigs in circulation, because they were all being minted for the 2 months when it was paused, right? We told people that this wasn't the case weeks ago, but I guess there was a few questions about it, so I want to answer it. The only pigs that will be credited that are not in the pig pen or the piggy bank are less than 3%, which were airdropped to people's wallets because they were in their wallets at the point when we paused, or less than 1%, which will be credited to people in the new MasterChef contracts. When I say less than 1%, I mean less than 1% of the circulating supply. So that's super bullish. Why is that super bullish? It's super bullish because when we go live tomorrow, less than 3% of the pig supply will be in circulation. And when we push the new MasterChef contracts, less than 1% additional pigs will be, added to the circulation, and they'll be in the MasterChef contract. They're not just going to be in people's wallets or whatever. So those people can take those pigs, send them to the pig pen like everybody else was doing, and by this point, by the time we get the new MasterChef contract, everybody will be very aware of how much value and how bullish the pig pen is and the piggy bank is, because by that point we'll have had a few weeks of the pig token, mooting, and the pig pen paying out millions of dollars worth of BUSD and paying out all of those pigs dividends that are being generated from the piggy bank, right? Non-inflationary pigs dividends. That's really it. So the only thing left to do, and this is why I didn't set the countdown until late last night. I knew that all there was left to do was deploy and parse the crediting data. But I did not want to have a situation where something comes up and we can't go live when that countdown hits 0. So I waited until 100% of the work was done. Everything was deployed. All the crediting data was parsed, which took a long time, right? Like 8 to 10 hours to do, because it's a lot of data. And it cost us $40,000 worth of gas to do all of this, which I paid for out of my own pocket, right? So so we did all of that, and we did the pigs distribution for people that had pigs in their wallet. We sent the pigs to the pig pen contract, and all that is left to do is adding liquidity to the new pigs token, which takes literally 3 seconds. It's a matter of just placing the transaction, and it goes through, and then sending those LP tokens to the piggy bank contract balance, and distributing those LP tokens to people who had LP tokens in their wallet. And when I'm saying 3% of the total pig supply that people have in their wallet, I'm including those LP tokens as well. It's a very small amount because anybody that had LP tokens in their wallet, or anybody who had LP tokens, was putting them in the piggy bank because that's where you can earn yield on them. So very few people had pigs in their wallet or sitting in the MasterShip contract or just sitting in LP tokens in their wallet because there's places you could have been earning yield with them. So due to this, there's essentially no pig tokens in circulation, right? Less than 3%. We're going to be going live. As soon as we go live, you'll be able to buy and trade pig tokens. You'll be able to stake them in the piggy bank for a 20% bonus for the first 48 hours, meaning any piglets that you would get for depositing, you're going to get an extra 20% more piglets, right? And the piglets are what determine your ROI relative to everybody else in the system. And you can time lock them to earn additional bonus, which is placed on the piglets, including your 20%. So you're earning a bonus on top of a bonus. And the pigs will be available in the credit contract for people that either want to send them to the pig pen, where they'll earn BUSD dividends, plus a pig dividend that's coming from the pig pen deposit withdrawal fees, or send BUSD into the credit contract to credit those pigs to the piggy bank. And if you do that in the first 48 hours, you will also earn a 20% bonus, as if it was fresh capital being deposited. So, 1 second. So, because we have a new token and a new symbol and a new name, all of that, it's going to be treated differently on DEX tools. It's going to be traded differently at CoinMarketCap, at CoinGecko, which means we're going to get that initial launch buzz, right? As if we just went live. And so the likelihood of us trending on DEX tools, super, super high, right? So when we're trending on DEX tools, and we only have 3% of the total supply in circulation available to buy, I mean, I expect this thing just to moon like crazy. And then, of course, the vast majority of people that are buying are going to be throwing it into the pig pen and piggy bank. So, this thing, I just expect it to go crazy tomorrow. And I'm very much looking forward to it. Now, what else? I would say that I guess I can talk about tomorrow. Next week, we're going to start the dogs and MasterChef migration process, right? So that will be a similar process to pigs, but all of the work is done already, right? All the MasterShip contracts, the improvements, we've already made those. That's what we've been doing for the past 2 months. We already have the crediting contracts because we had them for the pig token. So it's going to be a very smooth, seamless, quick process to get this done. And the plan is we get all the pigs out, the pig contracts, get pigs mooted, right? Because pigs is what gives value to dogs. And then start the migration process next week for the Master Chefs and the dogs contracts. And when we go live on dogs, there'll be that immediate value for dogs, because what gives dogs value is pigs, right? Because you can earn yield in pigs with the dogs token. So dogs gets its value backing from the pigs token. So I'll be on tomorrow, at least an hour before we go live in voice chat. By that point, the LP, the liquidity, will already have been added to the pigs token, and the LP tokens will be distributed and put into the piggy bank contract. And then at that point, when the countdown is 0, all we will be doing is unpausing and at that point, everything will be tradable. Everything will be open. The crediting, the piggy bank, the pig pen, everything. Now, why you would want to get into the pig pen is there's millions of dollars of BUSD already put aside, ready to be paid out, plus all of the pigs that are going to be generated when the piggy bank opens from those pig LP deposits and withdrawals. That's going to be sending a ton of pigs over to the pig pen to earn. Now, the way that this payout goes is the pigs generated from the piggy bank deposit withdrawal fees go into the Pigpen vault, and this Pigpen vault pays out 3% of its balance daily. So it's not going to be a pump and dump situation where these pigs that are generated from deposit fees are made immediately available for people to withdraw. They'll be dripped into the Pigpen daily at a rate of 3%, and this ensures that they're paid out over time, which is further locking up more and more pigs. And of course, these pig dividends are not coming from inflation, which means they're pigs that otherwise would be on the market that are now locked away. So it's extremely bullish for pigs. The V1, due to the way that we increased the seed amount, and due to the fact that everything is essentially vested, right? Because it's locked up in previous contracts. This is functionally the exact same as if we had done a vested pre-sale for the pig token, and now we're going live tomorrow for the first time, and everybody has a chance to get in at the ground floor with nobody having pigs or truffles available to dump on their head, plus the 20% bonus for getting into the piggy bank, plus there's only 3% of pigs in circulation. Plus, it's a new token with a new symbol and new ticker, which means it's going to be treated as a newly launched token as far as DEX tools and all these analytics sites are concerned. So it's going to be trending on DEX tools. It's going to be, mooning, right? So I think we're going to have effectively the most bullish launch we've ever had tomorrow, just due specifically to the market dynamics and the tokenomics of the whole thing, plus the fact that we have a larger base than ever paying attention to us. So before I jump off, I just want to give a couple updates about Drip and where we're moving forward with that. There is a major DEX who is about to launch their own new product. They're offering this product to who they consider the best 5 crypto projects on BSC. We are one of them. They just gave us the official announcements that they're going to be making. On Friday, I have a meeting with them about how we're going to essentially publicly announce it and promote it together. And this is going to be huge for Drip. So we're going to put our focus, right? I'd said previously that we were going to wait until we were finished with the dogs and MasterChef migrations to put our focus back on Drip. We're going to do both those at the same time because we want to get this new UI out for Drip before we have the this major partnership with a huge DEX, which is going to bring a ton of new attention and investors into Drip, and also create an awesome new product for Drip that is paying out yield to people for locking up and removing Drip from circulation. So, this is huge, and we want to make sure that UI is done before, and we're very close. We're a couple weeks away from this going live, so we're going to be working on this UI starting on Friday, right? So we can get this thing out ASAP, and before the DEX and us make this major co-announcement about the new product that they're launching that involves us. So. And then, one more thing I'd like to talk about is through this partnership, we have also worked out, lending for our single assets on Animal Farm. Previously, we were only doing collateral rehypothecation for our LP tokens, and we were generating millions of dollars worth of yield that will be used to pay out BUSD dividends to the Pigpen through our LP pairs. There was no place where we could earn serious decentralized yield through lending single assets. We have worked this out through a deal that I negotiated with a major DEX. So we'll be earning millions of dollars worth of yield on our single assets as well when the Animal Farm mastership contracts go live. And this is going to be another huge cash flow into Pigpen. So the BUSD that's about to be generated for the Pigpen is going to more than triple what we had previously as far as the BUSD going to the Pigpen. Plus, we're having this pigs dividend cash flow coming from the piggy bank as well. So, we're likely going to have more than 5x greater dividend payout to the Pigpen when we're up, full steam ahead when the mastership contracts are going. When you include the pigs new dividend model plus the new cash flows we're earning through the lending and collateral hypothecation, plus the improvements we made to the dog token and the liquidity helper contract, which you can read about on the Medium article that I posted. And you can go to the Drip Twitter account or go, search the Forex Shells calls to find that Medium article. And as a matter of fact, let me post it right now. Let me post it right now in the voice chat. So guys, I'm going to open up the text chat. Now, we've added in an anti-raid mechanism. We've added an anti-raid mechanism which should seriously prevent bots that were coming in with their name, buy this or whatever the case is. We also have we've removed about 14,000 bots from the group over the past couple of weeks, and people have you can notice that. So we put a lot of effort into taking these bots out, but there's really only so much you can do. This is Telegram. If you're going to allow people to join your group, there's really nothing you can do to fully stop spammers and fully stop bots. But we've done the best we could, and I'm going to open this up. And if it becomes a serious issue, I may mute it again with the botters. But of course, when after we go live, right, that's going to calm down. There'll be less people saying, "Oh, look, Pigs just launched. Here's the contract," etc. That always dies down after launch. So regardless, after launch, for sure we'll be unmuted. I'm going to give it a shot right now to unmute, and because I want everybody to be able to chat and be excited for tomorrow and everything. And just mods, be on full alert. I'm restricted on Telegram. Anybody with any amount of notoriety, meaning that people know you on Telegram, people set up bots that report everything you do. And Telegram has a terrible process of dealing with this. So essentially, they just look, "Oh, you've been reported 3 times," and they automatically restrict you. And then you have to appeal. And then if you have gone through this process, however many times, 10 times, 20 times, whatever the case is, eventually they just perma-restrict you. And that's what I'm dealing with right now. And it makes it so it's difficult for me to do things like add moderators, add admins, and stuff like this. But I've escalated it to a live person, and I'm waiting for a response back. But what I'm getting at is the mods that are available right now, please be on full alert and do your best to deal with these bots. So that's it, guys. I'm gonna unmute the chat right now. I'm gonna be going live in like an hour and a half with Brandon from Drip Guide. We're posting links and all that. Tomorrow, I'll be in voice chat an hour before we go live, at least. And we're gonna get this thing going. So here we go. Okay, guys. All right, I'm jumping off now. I'll see you guys in a bit.